Good morning. Good morning.
Lions and tigers and bears and bank failures. Oh my.
Tumbling was the word I saw, which was amazing because I don't see any tumbling going on, but they're writing tumbling.
If it bleeds, it leads.
That's right. That's right.
Right?
Yes, and of course we're talking about the two bank failures,
Yeah.
which is sending the news networks into a tizzy.
Yep. These are the same news networks that if there's any snow beneath the Mason-Dixon line, they treat it like a meteor is heading toward the Earth. So
That's right. Well,
so
they
Silicon
were
Valley
threatening
Bank
to
is
close schools today. Just you said snow, and I see it. A couple flurries where I am, and they were threatening to delay or close the schools before it even happened. So
my kids are upstairs. My kids are home. Ossining schools, Hendrick Hudson schools closed.
Yeah.
I looked out and I saw asphalt
Mm-hmm.
on the street, but maybe there's ice. I don't know. We come from a different time. If we had 3 inches of snow, we did not have a snow day.
That's right.
Went to school, So, I'm seeing all kinds of things. I'm seeing people say that this is the first domino, and I'm also seeing people who have said, this was mismanagement, and it's a one-off or a two-off of two examples of poor decisions by regional financial institutions. What is
I
it?
do have. There we go.
We don't know.
There's the tumble headline. Mortgage rates tumble because they went down almost a 1/4%, and that's a tumble.
That is a tumble. Well, it's actually good if mortgage rates goes down. I mean, there's a interesting sort of cascade of both good and bad consequences of these things, right? So our friend Anthony mentioned at Lamakia Realty that this is actually good for rates, because if people get cautious about the regular financial markets, they start investing in bonds. And a healthy bond market is good for mortgage rates. So that's one thing. All right. So we've also learned that the Uncle Sam is going to insure the deposits. So little old ladies and stuff are not going to lose their nest eggs and life savings in these things. But some of the larger investors who are maybe equity holders in the bank are going to be in rough shape. But as the president said, that's how capitalism works. So there's risk reward. So do we have, here's the question, do we have a legitimate fear that this is just the beginning of an economic crisis, or is this PTSD from 15 years ago, and banks close and merge and get acquired sometimes?
Right.
So what is your thought? Do you think that this is the first domino to fall? And why would you think so if so? And why wouldn't you think so if not?
Well, I think that it's definitely a healthy flashback to what happened, given the fact that we've had this strong real estate market come through a pandemic, now coming out of it and still staying strong. We know that that's because inventory is low and mortgage rates are high, which is causing people to not move as much as they used to. So, but given these two bank failures, and now there's funds that are going to bail them out, which have been appropriated already. So it's not significantly hitting the market or the Fed too hard. But that Silicon Valley Bank, 98% of their deposits were well over the $250,000 FDIC rule. And one actually, I think, was $3 billion from a crypto company. So, that's not really a good plan from that crypto company to put $3 billion in one bank. Doesn't make sense at all. So, of course, they're at the most risk there, but the mom and pops, like you're saying, that might have gone there for their mortgage or for that do their regular banking there, they'll be protected, which is good. And a similar situation with the Signature Bank. So no, this won't. It should not start a tidal wave, but it should send everybody a message that you know that a good bank is important when you're getting your mortgage, when you're doing your banking locally. You kind of have to vet the bank no matter where you are. So I think it's very important to look at those things when you're going out to get your mortgage and make your lifetime investments.
All right. So I think I'm on your side of the thought process on this. I don't think
Hmm.
that this is the first domino to fall in a larger calamity. So at bright-eyed, bushy-tailed 7:30 this morning, I heard my friend David Volkman, who is a financial guy,
Hmm.
um, uh, share his thoughts about this. And he said this was, if you look at what led up to this, this was a blueprint for crap judgment on the bank's part.
Right.
Now, anytime a bank over speculates, anytime a bank or just flat out speculates, uh, they invite, they are tempting fate. And he said that not only was uh, Silicon Valley Bank heavily invested in loaning to speculative ventures, it was actually a principal in some of
Hmm.
these speculative ventures. That includes crypto, etc. It is worth noting, by the way, because we're about housing, you and I. It's worth noting that they did not cite delinquent mortgages as
Hmm.
why the bank has failed. This is not a big mortgage lender that had a lot of bad paper out there in mortgage loans. It was like their name suggests.
Hmm.
They were they were doing Silicon Valley kind of stuff,
Right.
right? And I remember back in the '90s, for many years, as a matter of fact, someone had asked uh, in the tech bubble, someone had asked Warren Buffett why he didn't own Microsoft stock at that time. This is probably 1998. This is going back a long way. And he said, "Well, look, I own, Fannie Mae candy because I know millions of people have a sweet tooth,
Right.
and I own Coke because people like a nice soft drink, and I own companies that make razor blades because people shave, and I buy what I understand." He said, I don't pretend to be a tech guy.
Hmm.
So until I understand Microsoft and I understand their business, I don't think it's responsible to invest in it. And many of the things that Silicon Valley type stuff speculates on and invests in are things that, by and large, we don't really understand yet. Um, there are people out there who, and we know who they are. They're very vocal about the potential and the excitement about crypto, for example.
Hmm.
And you probably know a lot more about cryptocurrency than I do. Um, I own 37 cents worth of Dogecoin,
Hmm.
and that's about it. And what I understand are mortgages,
Right.
baseball, parenthood, a few other things. So the people who were making the decisions at the bank made bad decisions. but they
Right.
did not have billions and billions of dollars worth of bad paper out there on crappy mortgages. So the next question is, well, how many other banks out there are over leveraged or have too much invested in over speculative things? Well, we know there's two, right?
Hmm.
We know there are two. But I don't think this is the first domino. There may be other banks that are in this business model that fail. But we know that the housing market, which is what we're concerned about, is a resilient thing. It has prevailed in war. It has prevailed in social unrest. It has prevailed in recessions. It has prevailed in inflation. It has prevailed in high 18 to 20% interest rates. The only thing that really handcuffs it is when large financial institutions don't lend money anymore.
Right.
And I don't think that's really an issue right now. I think the mortgage banks are going to still loan money, and if anything, rates are going to go down a little bit, and this will be kind of a good thing. But until we get lots and lots more inventory, until we get lots and lots more distressed property, I just don't see a door in which a housing downturn can enter.
Right.
I don't see it. I feel bad, and it's funny. I see all kinds of prognostication about Silicon Valley Bank. Forbes named
Hmm.
them. Was named to be the best bank for 2023 by Forbes.
Hmm.
That's embarrassing. This was 2 days. Did someone? They were proud to be SV on March 7th. There was a SVB tweet. Proud to be on Forbes' annual ranking of America's best banks for the 5th straight year.
Right.
Forbes says something, you do the opposite. That's the first comment. That's funny. There are all kinds of there's so many opinions out there. But part of the problem that made this worse is that there's been a run on the bank and people are taking their money out, and that's not how banks work. They don't have all these vaults of cash. Do you think there's anything different about Signature Bank that should be
that
noteworthy?
also
Is there a pattern
Signature.
here?
Yeah, that's a New York-based bank, obviously Silicon Valley out in California. The Signature Bank was a New York-based bank and also crypto heavy. So they were double checking what was going on at that bank, so they shut it down before it got bad, and they're going to protect them as well. But just to the points that you were making here and what it says in the article, that and you spoke about this last week with Mark Seiden, over the course of it, these tumbling rates, only affecting the mortgage rate or the mortgage payment by $128 for someone who's getting a $500,000 loan, which is a pretty common price range here in Westchester and this area. So I don't see, this bank being, or these two banks being the issues as mortgage lenders and causing a problem in the mortgage market. But, it's a little bit of a wake up call. I was just, when we started, I just didn't want to paint the picture that real estate's going to keep going up forever. At some point, we have to have some kind of leveling off, soft landing, whatever it is. But I wouldn't say that, this is going to turn around on a dime. And, if you don't sell now, you're never going to get your money out. That's obviously a silly thing to say. And it's just that this headline caught me as, mortgage rates tumble and bank, over bank failures. I mean, that's just a horrible headline to write. But, as you said, the blood sells.
If it bleeds, it leads. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the crypto common thread,
Mm-hmm.
the speculation common thread are there.
Right.
We'll see if other banks that are over speculating are going to follow suit. But we already know that HSBC is taking over the assets of Silicon Valley Bank, I believe. I think could be wrong. I read that somewhere. So, and I don't think we're going to have this enormous $1 trillion bailout that we saw in years past when there was an enormous um,
Right.
bank failures before. So, if
Well,
anything, what
I think what they said was that the Fed had set up as I'll call it a slush fund to protect against these bank failures, and they've been paying into this insurance fund that will bail out banks that get into grave danger. And so that was set up. So this isn't the Fed printing more money to save the world. It's already been set up, and the banks have been paying into this, and now Signature is going to be tapping into that, and Silicon Valley tapping into that. So it's kind of baked in already, this bailout. So while it is nerve wracking, it's not going to affect the overall market. It shouldn't for long term at all.
it really shouldn't. Interesting. Bitcoin up 10% on news of
Yeah.
Signature's closing. This is a funny headline. I'm going to Reddit now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little secret about me. Here's what you don't know about me. Many people. Um, my social media platform of choice. If you see me staring at my phone, I'm probably on Reddit. I'm not on Twitter. Seldom. I don't do a lot of perusing on Facebook. So if I missed your birthday or your kid's bar mitzvah, I'm sorry. I'm not on Facebook that often. Um, I I just am not. So, but
Mm-hmm.
Reddit is where I will go. Let me just text my friend back who doesn't know that I'm on the broadcast and let her know that I'll call her back. So, but this is a cute thing. So this is where I'm getting this from Reddit. The management team at Signature Bank was basically like the show The Office. They'd waste millions of dollars on things like producing parody videos. From someone I know, trust me, bro, who worked at Signature Bank for several years. So they are no one is like, wow, um I didn't see this coming. There are people that are
Mm-hmm.
saying, we saw this coming, and they ignored the warning signs. They doubled down on bad ideas, and these are the same people that lobbied for regulations that probably would have prevented them from getting this deep in the pool. um so sometimes we dig our own hole, is you know
Yeah.
is the answer here. um Barney Frank, interesting, who helped draft the Dodd-Frank Act, what a coincidence, believes that Signature Bank was seized because regulators want to send a very strong anti-crypto message. Well, I don't think that's very nice either.
Mm-hmm.
um I think that's a shot across the bow. I don't think they should do that. But that's not the only reason. I think it probably factored in. Um, Third biggest bank failure in the last 20 years. They're a big bank.
Right.
They were a big bank, but I never saw them in the mortgage space. So what's the lesson? If you're in the rest of the financial field, uh, well, first of all, if there's 250 banks failing, we're screwed. If there's two banks failing, the system's actually working. Banks that are over leveraged and make unreasonable or over speculative risks should be seized by regulators, because otherwise the problem snowballs. This is the
Right.
lesson of 2004, 5, 6, 7, where regulators looked the other way while billions and billions and billions of dollars of horrific, awful mortgages were being originated. And yeah, uh, that's uh, that's the system working. So overall, it's good headlines. It sells newspapers. It gets people talking. It is a cautionary tale. But I do not believe this is going to hit the garden variety regular guy who's looking to buy or sell property in the wallet at all.
No.
and we'll see if I'm wrong. But every headline here is talking about crypto and speculation and mismanagement, and nothing about subprime mortgages. Nothing about non-QM mortgages, which is the new term for subprime. And I frankly am glad that they're doing their job.
Non-QM, that's like a pre-owned, previously loved cars.
Yeah, right.
Non-QM.
Well, subprime became such a
Right. Dirty word.
dirty word that they started calling them non-qualified mortgages.
Yeah.
So QM, non-qualified mortgages, non-QM mortgages, right?
I love it.
Well, when you're Cablevision and people hate you, you change your name to Optimum. you rebrand. That's what you do. So I think what this means for people who are looking to buy or sell real estate is it's probably going to just make rates go down a little bit. That's not so terrible.
Yep.
One of the other graphs I saw this morning from David was he looked at housing starts, and there was this incredible drop in housing starts from 2007 to 2011.
Right.
And it's funny, you reap what you sow in this world. We are not building enough new housing overall, and certainly not building enough new housing in our backyard here in the New York area. And the only new housing I see going up is going up. It's going, it's like if you go to New Rochelle, they're building like towers. Right. There's no more land to build. And there's very little you can do up county because the zoning restrictions are prohibitive, and they don't want anything other than their 5-acre lots in subdivisions on septic. They don't want what they would term dense overdevelopment.
Right.
Okay, that's how you want it, but there's not enough housing. Can we build lots on? Can we build a house on 1 acre? Do we need to have 5? How about a half an acre? Like I live on 4.44 acres, just a little under half. It's a lot of lawn to mow, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of lawn. That's a lot of fence. That's a lot of landscaping. That's a lot of lawn to mow. There's corners of my yard. Like, I don't just go and sit all the way down there. The dog was getting out of the yard, and I had to figure out how to fill the gap under the fence. Like, we need more housing.
Right.
And that contributes to the low inventory. And that is really where I'd like to see more effort go into than crypto.
Right. Well, the governor, now that you brought this up, the governor is proposing, I think, 800,000 units, mostly around the train stops coming out of New York City. And over the next couple of years, she's making grants or giving tax breaks to towns that build high density housing near their train stops. So she's trying to make that look profitable for towns and for builders.
I really hope they do it. Otherwise, there's going to be another scattering of people all the way up to upstate. So like how many people where'd you go? Sacred Heart, Blessed Sacrament.
Blessed Sacrament. Yeah.
Okay. How many were in your graduating class? 150, 200, 250?
127.
127. Okay. All right. Of that 127, how many would you estimate still live in New Rochelle or the nearby towns?
Oh, well, I think when I was there, maybe 30, maybe almost 40% were busing up from the Bronx to go to Blessed Sacrament. We were right on the edge, New Rochelle. So, there's a very small but very strong contingent that went to those schools. Went to Holy Family, then Blessed Sacrament, and Iona. But yeah, I'd say it's probably under 15%
that have stayed local.
Stayed right in the area.
Yeah, right. All right. So I'm going to say it's about the same for me. So I went to Kennedy, All right. And that drew from lots of school districts, but mostly northern Westchester and Putnam. And I have people that are in Texas. I have people that are in Orange
Hmm.
County. I have people that are in Dutchess County. But not a lot live locally
Hmm.
because, you put something like, for example, in your backyard, a vacant, knocked down house in New Rochelle. You can't go inside, structurally unsound. We put it on the market for $295. I can't tell you what it sold for, but it was a lot more than $295, and
Right.
we got a lot more than 5 offers.
Yeah. You just can't touch anything at that.
Because there's no land.
Right.
So this is a chance for someone to spot build and put a beautiful home up, and there's the money and the financing to do that. But I really wish, and I hope more than just Governor Hochul does this. I hope more of a governmental priority and a policy priority goes into building new housing
Hmm.
for people, right? Banks are in business to make money. I get it, and maybe this speculative tech, fancy crypto, yippy doodle stuff is great and super and sexy, but what about investing in banal things like housing? Because that is stable as hell. And if we have a lot of people who are homeowners in a stable economy, that's kind of good, isn't it?
Hmm.
Isn't that kind of good? That
No, that was
we don't
that's a
want to live
speech
in a
from Jimmy Stewart in "It's a Wonderful Life."
yes, yes, exactly. So that's what we should be.
Doesn't it make it better citizens, better people?
I
As
mean,
Mr. Martini has his business and now has a
yeah,
home.
that's correct. That is a good name for a bar, by the way.
Martinis.
Martinis.
Yeah,
You know,
it's better than
Did-
Nick's. Nick wasn't as nice, but I
mm,
digress.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Nick's. Although I like the name
But
Nicholas. If we had another kid, we would have named him. If it was a boy, we would have named him Nicholas. So I don't know. I think we've beat the hell out of this, Tim. But I think that absent a whole bunch of other banks dying because of
right.
over speculation, I just think this is kind of a thing that happened. Is the regulatory process doing its job? Interest rates come down. It's not a it's housing agnostic as in terms of an event, other than it probably helping interest rates, and it's a
Hmm.
lesson to banks that they that stable is more sexy than speculative,
Yep, I agree. I like
right?
it. The only other thing I want to bring this up is these are the stats from the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
We're headed right into the spring market. So here we go with new listings, which are finally outpacing the solds, right? So 530 on the solds, but we would expect that in a good spring market, we're going to have a lot of things come on, but then the sales are going to pick up as well. So we were begging for more listings and inventory.
And we still
So
are. We still
yeah.
are. That is a good sign. That 7-day look back of almost twice the inventory going on, a net 460 plus of
Hmm.
listings. That is quite good. That is quite good. So the 829 pendings do tell us, though, that it is still a very robust
Right.
market. 140 back on markets adds to the inventory too, so that is good. Um, really surprised to see 300 houses be temporarily off market, but that might be including a lot of accepted offers.
I
So
think
they
that's what it
may,
is now.
yeah, so they may
Yeah.
roll into pending. But
Correct.
we are still at a really low. I mean, millions and millions of people live in this area, and this, I think, is the entire uh,
Yeah.
one key MLS footprint. So this includes Nassau
Correct.
and Suffolk and Queens and it's not just Westchester County. I wish Westchester probably was net 50 uh, extra listings on
Hmm.
here, and of those 50, who knows how many of them were we're single family homes, and we're co-ops. It just depends. We'd have to do a deeper dive into that. But look, it's better than losing listings, right?
Right. But it just the turnaround of having a good healthy amount of new listings coming on for the spring is a good sign. And I didn't want the bank failures and all this kind of stuff to scare people and make rash decisions over what they want to do with their real estate transactions. So, but we do need the listings, and it is a healthy market, and the mortgage rates are fluctuating as they do. So get in there, lock in when you see a good rate, and it's a good time to make a move if you can uh, stomach the rate. Because I'm sure Anthony was talking about what that means. But like you guys said last week with Mark Seiden, it's at the end of the day, it's maybe $100 difference in your payments,
Yeah.
100 or 200. So it's not life changing as much as the house or the move, the downsize or the upsize is going to impact your life. So if you're worried about 100 or 200 bucks, you should have been out of that real estate a long time ago. And if you're looking to make a life change, then 100 or 200 bucks shouldn't affect your decision to upsize or whatever you got to do.
Well, I'm with you there because the greatest, most compelling economic factor is the uterus, in my opinion. People are going to have families, people are going to want to have kids, people will want to put down roots, and that will not wait. That will not wait too long, right? So a lot of pent up demand, and yeah. So I'm glad to see that the spring market is
Mm-hmm.
springing forward. It's a good thing. I want my hour back from Sunday. I'm still a
Did
little
did
sad.
Reddit say whether this is going to be a permanent thing or not? I've heard it's been a couple years in a row now that it's never going to happen again.
There is no, funny you should ask, but there is no legislation pending that will uh, introduce sanity
Yeah,
to the clock changes.
we
Not,
have to tie it to the bank failures or something so that they make a move.
please, you guys, it's killing me. I think we should be on permanent daylight savings time.
I pick a time and just go with it. I didn't care.
There's
I
that
said a
too,
couple
but
years ago, I was like, move it back half an hour and call it over with. I mean, whatever it is, just leave. Stop messing with it. It doesn't matter.
it'd be a
Average it out.
good compromise, I suppose.
But yeah, it's funny that it keeps going back and forth, and there is no real reason to do it anymore. Um,
I haven't farmed in a while.
anyway, yeah, exactly. I haven't. I used to go and get the milk, but it was never from a cow. But it didn't
Well, we
matter
do
whether it
get
was dark
eggs.
out.
We do get eggs. We got 2 this morning, but we didn't need an hour and extra sunlight to get the eggs.
Well, now at the prices they are, I want to know if the sun is that daylight is affecting the egg production
It
because that's
is.
important.
The more
It
sun they
is,
get, the better the egg production.
but we know we're not really changing the amount of sun. It's still the same 12 hours of sun a day.
Well, I just think they do better in the summer than they do in the winter.
Doesn't
Because
everybody?
our chicks are young. I could spend an hour with you talking about my chickens.
I didn't. How many chickens do you have?
We have 6.
Oh,
We have 6
wow.
hens, and one of them is from the original 6 that we got a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a fox massacre a few months ago,
Mm.
and we had to get 5 new chicks. And
Gotcha.
yeah, back in September. So lesson learned. But now that the new hens are maturing, we're getting more eggs. So this morning, I had Faranda eggs, and my son had 3 scrambled eggs. And they were delicious. And the one thing that I hate that
Yeah.
fox about is that we had one hen that was making green eggs, and I can't tell you how much I loved that fact.
Yeah.
Like to be me and to look someone in the eye and say, Joe Cool works here, and I have a chicken that makes green eggs. that's pretty awesome. I love that about my life.
You're living that storybook life, although
That's
it's written by Dr. Seuss. So
yes,
go figure.
yeah, exactly. So, next week we will have a guest. We'll have Mark Boyland. We'll start a half hour later. Just so you know,
Oh,
he
we're doing a
needed
time change,
later.
like daylight savings time.
He needed 11:30. You know, for his. I guess he's going to be on the tractor or something. So, I'll
Very
send an
good.
email out for that. So, always good to catch up with you, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Well, we'll see you next week.
Yes.